You're still watching Prime Morning, and this segment is Prime Insight. Some time ago, we came your way with the conversation with regards to the new academic calendar that was proposed by the GES. And during our conversation, we heard from the Teachers Union, actually, GNAT, speaking about the fact that they even chanced on the letter on social media, and they were waiting and hoping on a stakeholders meeting. However, this new academic calendar has commenced, and we have to follow up on that conversation that we started. How is it faring so far, and how are the teachers coping? Because when we spoke to them before it all started, they actually had their, doubts about it, and they had a lot that they wanted to tell the GES. Now it has started. Have they been able to have a conversation with the GES, and when it started, how is it going so far? I have with me William Yita, who is our Accra Metro West District GNAT chairman, who was here the last time, and also hopefully we'll have another guest who will join us via Zoom. But let's start the conversation with Mr. Yita. Good morning, Mr. Yita. How are you today?
I'm doing well.
Great. You're looking nice. I like what you're wearing.
Yeah, thank you very much. You look gorgeous too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Yita, it's been a while since we had this conversation, and of course, we have to follow up on it. Yeah. We brought this conversation some time ago. Now, you are doing this new academic calendar. How has it been so far?
In fact, it's just as if we are in the middle of the ocean. As I'm at loss, I don't know what answer to give you as we speak, as to whether we are even following that calendar or a new calendar is yet to be followed. I don't know, because quite recently a new calendar came out giving us a vacation date of 7th April. The one we are currently discussing, the vacation date for the basic schools is supposed to be 24th.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm going on there to get the details. Yes. So this is how it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a 3-trimester for the GHS, the kindergarten, primary, and junior high schools, and it was supposed to be January 10th, 2023 to March 24th, 2023, and vacation on March 25th, 2023 to April 2nd, 2023.
Yeah.
The second trimester, the second term starts from April 3rd, 2023 to June 15th, 2023, and breaks from June 16th, 2023 to June 23rd, 2023. Then the third term will start from June 27th, 2023 to September 14th, 2023.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's another calendar for you.
So there's a new calendar that has come out now. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So the new calendar is a little bit different. Let's see what we have with the new calendar. I think Form 1, Form 2, Form 3. Which one should I look at?
It's not down there. You see the basic schools.
The basic school. All right. So for the basic school, you have the vacation being on the 17th of April.
7th. Is it 7th or 17th?
17th April here.
Okay.
I see. Okay, so help me read it, because I'm a bit confused. I don't know if you can send. I wish you could send it to me for me to be able to project it for the viewers to see. Because so send it to my producer, the number you have, so that we can have the viewers see the new academic calendar. But like I was saying earlier, the old before this one came out, the supposed new academic calendar was supposed to be the first term being the 10th of January. Sorry, that's the academic year starts on the 10th of January and ends for the first term on the 24th of March. Yeah. Then they go on vacation on 25th of March and reopens on the 2nd of April.
Yeah.
So they didn't go on the vacation, or they are yet to go on the vacation. 25th of March, right?
Yes. Today is 21st.
Yeah, 21st.
Yeah. So as we speak, we don't know whether the schools will vacate on the 24th as initially scheduled, or they are going to wait to vacate on the 17th, as the second calendar is saying. My
daughter came to me telling me they are vacating on Friday, which happens to be 24th.
Well, how she got to know the vacation date, I cannot tell, because even the teachers don't know when they are vacating. So for a child to tell you that they are vacating, probably...
Because that's what the school is saying.
Yes, they may be right to be guessing that way because the first calendar that came says that they are vacating on the 24th. But it is also possible they may not have cited the second academic calendar that I'm about to send to you.
Please do send. And
Yes.
I want to know when this new academic calendar was released.
Just about 2 weeks ago.
And where did you get it?
Oh, also on social media, you know.
On GES page?
No,
or which
GES, they will always circulate it.
Okay.
And then the heads will pick it up. The various municipal directors will first get it, and then they'll forward it to the heads of the schools. The heads of the schools will also post it on the various teacher platforms.
But how can we verify that this is really from GES? Has GES spoken about it?
Well, they haven't spoken about it, just as they didn't speak about the first one too. We had to make noise before maybe there were some few responses, you know. So the same thing is happening to this one.
All right, the first one, we had a conversation with GES.
Yeah.
They did explain the reason why they had to go with that calendar.
Yeah.
And so they did respond to it. But nobody has responded to this one yet.
You haven't seen it yet. You are about to see. So maybe you will interrogate them and they'll come with their response.
Okay, we haven't seen it. So you send it to us and then we can discuss it. But let's discuss what was proposed earlier with regards to the academic calendar.
Yeah.
And I did mention that they are supposed to vacate on 24th of March, which I know for sure that most schools are doing so because my daughter's school, they have completed with their exams. And so they are vacating on the 24th of March and they go back to school on the 2nd of April.
Yeah.
Now, you spoke about the new academic calendar going to be too choking for teachers, going to be choking on the students because they won't have enough time to rest and the teachers won't have enough time to be able to even mark the papers and, you know, prepare for the next academic year.
Yeah.
Will things change now?
I think the second calendar is an attempt to adjust the previous one slightly, if it is authentic, as we are all, you know, speculating. I've sent it to
the producer.
Producer. And so now that we have these two, which have varied dates, it means that there could be an attempt to realign or adjust the calendar in a way to suit the system. Because currently, Tapia Ghana doesn't really have any authentic calendar per se that we are using. And so it's like we are just juggling with the educational system. Because at least GNAT or the teacher, the various teachers at the various schools should be able to tell your child and my child that we are actually vacating on the 24th. Now, some are saying it, some are not saying it because there are two conflicting calendars. You go and tell the child will vacate on the 24th. This child will be preparing our day and everything. The child will come and it will be a fiasco. Then the picture will be painted as if you, the teacher, don't know what you are about.
But you would have prepared the children. They have to write exams before. So if you finish writing exams, how then do you let the child stay in school for another 2 weeks?
There have been times that children wrote exams and they were still made to stay in school for some time. You know, an exam doesn't mark the end of learning. It's just a period when you are assessing the child to know how impactful your delivery has been and going forward, whether there's the need to adjust your methodology or your pedagogy or something. So that is just the purpose of examination. Yeah, but it doesn't mark the end of the teaching. You
know, when we had the conversation, you were saying that you were hoping to have a meeting with the GES as a stakeholder. Did it ever happen? Well,
the General Secretary is doing that, but you know, just as soon as we left this place, it coincided with a period when GNAT was also carried out their biennial local conferences for the various locals. I came here with a local secretary the other time. Yes, those locals, they do their conferences every 2 years, and we are doing it nationwide. So as we speak, the General Secretary might not even be at the headquarters right now. He and his deputies, they've all been distributed to the various regions to monitor. National Executive are monitoring, we are monitoring. That's why I myself, my schedule is too tight.
But was there ever a meeting with GES?
Not any official meeting that I know of, but they've been in contact with the GES.
And when you contacted the GES, what was the outcome?
Well, I don't have the feedback from that contact, but I want to believe that since they are coming out with a new format, it could be as a result of the deliberation with the stakeholders, you know, because if they wouldn't have come out with a calendar and just within a month they'll go back and draft another one, then we would have been in a state of quagmire, I mean, as a nation, if that is how we are going to be doing our things. But I'm thinking that they are seeing reason in the outcry, and then they want to do some small adjustment. Now, if this adjustment is done, even if it is not done, if you look at the calendar, you will see that vacation is supposed to, the third term will vacate in September. Now, we are assuming that if we vacate in that September, we will resume in the same September to mark the beginning of the new academic year, so that would have marked the beginning of our return to the old system where schools usually resume in September. It is the reason why they are compressing the thing in a form of a sandwich to take us back to the old calendar.
Right. Now, you said there's been a new release of a new calendar. Okay. Yeah. When you look at this new calendar, do you prefer it as compared to the other one that was released?
They are almost the same, but there's some slight changes. I mean, in terms of the number of days, you know, when we came here earlier, we were talking about 7 days, holidays, and now it's like it's 10, 10, 10 throughout.
Is it better?
There's nothing that we can do about it at the moment. We just have to continue to judge. We would have preferred that they go about it gradually so that we will get back to where we want to go instead of compressing the whole thing and forcing the teachers and the children to do it within a very short period. But be it as it may, the thing has come. Whether authentic or not, we are already operating a calendar. I'm trying to look at it from the angle that we will definitely get back to where we came from when COVID struck our nation. And so we are all yearning to get there, but not with the speed of light as they are trying to.
Is this a speed of light? Because it's been a while since, COVID was became normalized. Let me use that word, quote unquote, normalized, although it's not a normal thing. However, where we are now, we have to go back to normal life again with regards to the calendar. Yeah. Isn't it right that we kill ourselves, do it now, and then, we can have a breather next year?
Well, each and every one of us will have our views on this. Just like Kwame Nkrumah and his team wanted independence now, and then others also wanted it later. We are having the same scenario at the moment. But I think that for the sake of the health of the children and the teachers themselves, if we do it gradually, you see, we are not back to, life is not yet back to normalcy as we think, because there's still COVID lurking around. Maybe it is no longer killing us. It started killing when it first invaded our nation. But COVID is not completely gone. And it is even transforming itself into various variants elsewhere. And we are not immune to whatever is happening in the outside world because we keep on traveling. So long as there's no ban on travel now, it means that anything can always happen. And we too, we need to be on our guard. So we may be thinking that we are off the hook, but looking at what is happening around us is an indication that COVID is not completely gone. Yeah, and so we still have to take some pragmatic measures to prevent any catastrophe in future.
Right. Let me go on Zoom and speak with Emmanuel Oparidodo, who is the General Secretary for Conference of Directors of Pre-Tertiary Schools. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you too?
Fine, thank you. And thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are talking about, the new academic calendar, and of course, it's already started. I want to know how it's been so far since it commenced.
Well, it's been a very difficult one, a very difficult change to have to work with, even though we in the private school space have always yearned for a return to the old system, that is the September to July. But it has actually come at a short notice. But we've been prepared behind the scenes. The only challenge we have had to deal with is why the need for us to still do the 3 terms for the 2023 academic year. It could have been just a 2-semester system, and then we end somewhere in August to have a little more time for resting period. Then we resume in September for the 2023-2024 academic year. But then it has become necessary we adjust to deal with the new change. And there is very little we can do for that.
Talking about adjusting, let's talk about the students as well. How has it affected them?
Well, you can't take the rest period from the children. It is important to get enough time to rest. And now we are going to be doing, on the average, 10 days period. And out of the 10 days, for instance, let's bring the final year students into perspective. While they are home, they are always having lessons via Zoom. So there wouldn't be enough time for them to rest. Even with the children, some would want to travel and bond with their family members. And for this year, all of that has come to a halt. And also the financial implication it brings on us major stakeholders, our parents. Usually they do 3 terms in a year. It is now 4 terms this year. And majority of the complaints we have received from our members, the parents are complaining. Parents are complaining, why 4 terms? Some even pleading for the need for them to have some structure of fee payment and all of that. But running a school, a private school for that matter, isn't easy. You largely depend on the fees to run the whole system. We don't receive any government support and all of that. So that is the kind of adjustment we are talking about.
Let's talk about the syllabus with regards to the children. Have you been able to, complete a syllabus for a term, or you've had to, restructure how your syllabus is going to go and push some to the second term?
Well, for this particular term, I must be honest, we are actually behind time in the completion of the scheme that we had set out to do this term. So, meeting with our members across the length and breadth, we have suggested to them the need to meet their teachers and then lump some of the topics together in order for them to be able to complete the ensuing term and then the last lap of the academic year, which ends somewhere in September of this year.
Okay, so right now there's an alleged new calendar. Have you cited that one? Because there was one that came in January, and that's what we are discussing. But there's an alleged new one. Have you cited it?
Yes, I have. I have a copy with me.
Of the very new one?
Come again?
Of the very new one, right?
Yes, which ends somewhere in September. Yes, I have.
Okay, I
have a copy of it.
All right, okay, so there is another one that Mr. Ita just showed to us. I don't know if you have that one, but I wish you had it. So the one that you have, when did you receive it?
I think about a month ago.
Okay.
Actually, when we were somewhere more than half into the term of this academic year, that was when I got it. And I had to quickly restructure my programming around it to be in sync with the government directive. It's a directive from the government, and they are a parent body. GES is a parent body, so we need to comply. But we should have our own way, as we had earlier suggested to them. Perhaps it could have been a 2-semester system in this academic calendar, which ends somewhere in September, so that they will have enough time in school and also largely a bit of enough time also at home to rest. But for us to be doing these 3 terms in a matter of 9 months, it's not easy. It's a very difficult thing to do.
Now, you did mention that you had a talk with them to let them understand that it's difficult. We are in a democratic country. What was their reaction when you told them about this?
My president attended one of their, upon their invitation, he attended their meeting and put forward our stance on the change they wanted to implement. But
all right, so we'll go back on Zoom to speak with Mr. Emmanuel Opare very soon.
Regardless of our position, the calendar is at variance, and my sister, there is very little we can see what happens. But my brother in the studio is more or less espousing all the position of the private tertiary school owners. And, I think he's doing a good job. Thank you.
Right. Let me come to the studio and speak with Mr. Ita. We are not done with 3 years, Mr. Opare. We'll come back to you and have a conversation with you again. So please hold on for us. All right, Mr. Ita, it looks like this new calendar, a lot of them haven't cited it yet.
Yeah.
And so what do we do? Are you going to go by the new calendar? Are you going to get in touch with GES to explain if this new calendar is really the new calendar, or you go with the other one that was released about 2 months ago?
In fact, as at now, I cannot really tell what will happen to curb this situation if I espouse any view right now, because we are busy carrying out our biennial local conferences, and that is a mandatory kind of thing. There's no way we can adjust it and take it into another year. So we are going to finish it within this March, and I'm sure that we'll all be back in Accra, either at the headquarters, wherever, to kickstart our various responsibilities, such that the General Secretary and the deputies will be able to get in touch with the GES and then iron out things for all of us. As we speak, because we have a hierarchy, I am in the political wing. My duty is to come here, talk, to see to either we formulate policies, and then we see to either those policies that we formulate are implemented by the General Secretary and his team. Yeah, so because each one of us have our responsibilities, it is rare to see the political wing crossing carpet to the other side to do the work of the other. Otherwise, there will be role conflict. So we are trying as much as possible to avoid that in the union. And so I'm sure that when we are all back in Accra by the end of this month, things will take shape. Yeah, because we are one of the biggest stakeholders in education. And if we cannot find our bearing as a nation, it is a responsibility of the unions to see to it that they help government to be able to fine-tune this thing, so that we will get back to a stage where you and I can always tell when we are going back to school, when we are vacating, instead of getting lost in the ocean as it is now. So
what happens if government doesn't do anything about it and they stick with this?
Oh, government will definitely do something about it, because it is for the good of all of us. It's not that government has the power, but the unions also have power, and this power run parallel. Whereas government can do this, the unions can also do the other way around. And we try as much as possible to avoid conflict between the unions and government. But if government calls for it, then we will go all out to meet government boot for boot. Yeah. Because we are a union.
So how will you meet government boot for boot?
You know already. Are you a stranger in this country?
Will you use the law, or will you go on strike? What are you going to do? Some of the tools that you use. Mr. Ita, tell us, live on television. What are some of the tools you use to meet government boot for boot?
We will first try to dialogue with government, but if persuasion fails, then we can either go on strike, we can go on demonstration, we can petition. I mean, there are so many ways by which we can deal with this situation. You should know that you and I have our children among the children that are currently suffering under this current system. And so for us to regulate it, it is a must. It's not as if we want to, but we have to do the right thing to ensure that our children have a better future. You see, because it is unfortunate that maybe we are left with about 4 days to vacate, and no one can tell whether that vacation will actually come on or not. You understand? In fact, I've interviewed some teachers. Nobody is able to stick the neck out to tell me that they're actually vacating on Friday.
Let me speak to Mr. Opare. Mr. Opare.
Yes, madam.
Yes. For the academic calendar that you have, are you going to go by it? Because Mr. Ita is saying there's a new one. So with regards to the academic calendar that you have, when is school supposed to vacate this term?
For our school, is supposed to vacate this Friday.
Right.
But it became necessary we extend it to next week. So for my school, it is the school vacates on the 30th of March.
Why did you extend it?
The notice and the calendar came at a short notice, and I had already set out. Initially, I was to even vacate in the first week of April. But looking at the demand of the new calendar, that came a bit late in the term. I had to reduce it a little to make way for the rest period. As my brother in the studio is saying, this is a directive from the GES. In as much as they are our parent body, it is also important they churn out information on a timely basis. It could have been done. Maybe at the tail end of last year, we get the information, we have enough time to look at it and plan. As he's saying, why is it this way, that the teacher is vacating this Friday and he doesn't know when he's coming back to school? It's a problem that the government will have to come clear. But my conference, we are meeting somewhere next week, Tuesday, and we will issue our stance in a press statement when we are done with our meeting.
Right. Now, since you are vacating on the 30th of March, won't it affect the number of days the children will have to stay at home and rest? It will, but it also became necessary because at the start of the year, we had set out to do 14 weeks. And somewhere around February, mid-February to the tail end of February, a calendar from GES came reverting the whole school system back to the old system, the September to July. I had already set out. Parents are aware. They had planned their leave period around the calendar I had sent to them. So it would have been calamitous going strictly. I needed to make the changes gradually. So that is how come I had to extend it. But having enough time in school, let me just say it is what it is for now. But we will do well to ensure that they don't lose much. But of course, there is something that they will lose. I need to be honest. But we just limit the liabilities. Now, since you are vacating out of the regular calendar that GES is giving to you, won't GES come for you and say that you are not abiding by their rules?
As a private school operator, it is not for us to strictly go according to. It has been the case. It's been the convention over the years. Private schools don't strictly match up with the calendar of GES. We only plan around it. We work around it. So usually we resume. Elsewhere in other private schools, they resume a week before, they vacate a week earlier, or trying to make sure it is also within the space of our stakeholders. Our major stakeholders are our parents. And we can't also plan outside their domain. It's important we factor them in when we are planning. And my sister, if we vacate according to the new calendar put out by the GES, they are vacating on Thursday, Friday.
On Friday, yeah.
And they will resume before the Easter break. Take some break and then go back to school. I found that wasn't necessary. That is how come I extended it, so that we take the break, go for the Easter break, and then we come back, and then there wouldn't be the need for us to take another break and all of that. So that's occasioned the decision to extend this very term by a week.
Looks like the private schools have a little bit of advantage here as compared to the government schools, Mr. Ita.
Yeah, that's true. Like he rightly said, even though they operate within the educational system, they have a leeway. They can choose to resume before the regular schools. They can also choose to vacate before or after. And like you said, they have their own calendar, which is being used alongside that of the GES. So GES cannot go for them. These are private investors who are just trying to help the nation, because our regular schools cannot absorb all the children that we have. And then there must even be preference. If you want your child to go to the Saito, as people call it, they go there. If you also want your child to go to a different school like the private, the child should have that option. So I think, like he rightly said, yes, they can do what they like, not completely outside the scheme anyway, but at least they can adjust. Yeah. Even with the government schools, you can always adjust your timetable to suit the local situation, So maybe if we are all supposed to teach up to Unit 12, you can come to my school around this time and I will be teaching Unit 6. And I can't be penalized for that because my reason may be that the children that I inherited could not identify alphabets. So I had to take them back and get them along till they are able to join 1, 2 letters, 3 letters, before I bring them back to the normal situation where we would have just taken off from there, So there's always a way of going about it, even if you have a calendar from the GES. But when it comes to vacation and reopening the government schools, you can't vacate earlier or later. If you are to vacate later, then your municipal director is supposed to communicate to the GES director, giving reasons why School A cannot vacate on the said date.
Right.
Yeah. If not, they can easily go after you because you are
you are under them.
Yes.
Let's talk about how this is going to affect the children who will be writing BC.
Yeah.
For the private schools, you can go around it a little bit, right, Mr. Dodu?
Yes, we are able to work around it. But let me just chip in this. Currently, it's being moved around that BEC has been moved to August, which is not confirmed. Actually, there isn't any official confirmation. What it means is that compared to the 2022, BEC has been reduced by almost 8 weeks. So if you don't plan around it, it might happen that it will be time for BEC and the children are home. Yeah, so government should come clear. They should confirm the date for the BEC that indeed it is August. What date in August and all of that. So these are some of the germane issues there. GS together with the government will have to come and then straighten up.
Well, Mr. Also, yes, please go ahead.
Yes, as I indicated earlier, from now to August, it's quite short. So for us, while the children are even home, they are still in their various classrooms via Zoom and then Teams and all of that. So they are home, but they are still in school. And that's what we're talking about, that it could have been done in a much better way. Perhaps if information had come a bit earlier, it makes it very easy for us to plan.
Right. Mr. Emmanuel Oparidodu, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Of course, we know GES, they always have their eyes on Joy Prime. So say something to them and hopefully something will be done.
Thank you, my sister. Well, as I indicated, we are meeting next week Tuesday, and our official position on the new calendar will be put out in a press release. But as they are watching, I'm very also certain that they are watching. I would advise that, yes, it's been released already. The steps towards the change or the reversion is in motion. There is very little we can do now, but they should be also very accommodative. And information will have to come as early as possible. When the information are out on time, it makes it very easy for planning. So going forward, these are the things they must have in mind. And also they shouldn't write off, when they are planning, they can't write off entirely the private school operators. We are also major players in the field, if you ask me. I'm sure my brother in the studio might even have his grandchildren and the children even in the private school. So if you are planning, you must involve us. Yes, let's Jojo and get things right in Africa. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oparia Jodo. We are super grateful that you could join us this morning. All right, let me come to studio and speak with Mr. Ita. Mr. Ita, you are working hard to make sure that, as stakeholders, you are comfortable and the children, and, the children and parents are also comfortable, because it's quite difficult on the parents as well.
Yeah. If you look at the current calendar, the SHS, they are also likely to do 10 days. If I have my child in the Asante region, maybe let's take it Prampe. My child is in Prampe. The child will come for just 10 days and will go back with, everything, including the transportation. So if we were to adjust it to cover the Easter break period, so that when they come, at least they will have a good number of days rest, and then the parents can also have enough time to go around to look for money to cater for their schooling. I think that would have been better for all of us. But the way it is being done now, in fact, it's very difficult to fathom exactly what is going to happen in the near future and where we are really heading towards. Even though we are assuming that we want to get back to where we were. This is an assumption. Nobody has told us. So we are just...
Mr. Ita, but, looking at what is happening right now, is it not better that we just adjust to the new system and hopefully by next year things will get better?
Yeah. Well, we can adjust, but I still think that, like the gentleman said, that it could have been made 2 terms or semester, whatever you want to call it. Like during COVID, we had to do something to cover up for the loss, So we managed to, something that never existed was done. The teachers had to work extra hard, stay in school longer to cover up for what happened during the peak of COVID. So in the same way, we can always do so. But if you are going to do it in this manner, there should have been some form of compensation for those who are going to suffer the consequences of this.
What compensation are we looking for?
Oh, it could be some form of allowances given to those who are going to lose their period of rest. As for the children, I don't know how they will be compensated, because...
So for now, if GES comes out and compensates the teachers, we won't sit here and have this conversation again.
We will still have it. The main objective of this discussion is about the children. But if it must go on at all costs, and there's nothing virtually that we can do about it, then we should be looking at a situation where, the teachers are also in the same soup with the children.
Right.
The children will suffer and the teachers will suffer. Now, you and I may look at a way by which the children could be compensated, if that is possible. They are not on any payroll. Government will find it difficult to, compensate the children. But it will be much easier for government to compensate the teachers, because they are on government. So
a compensation will be fine?
It will be fine, but it will not seal up the entire thing, because we have to do things right in this nation so that at least everybody can always know what is happening. Even the layman on the streets should be able to say that, school is resuming tomorrow. Schools are vacating like it used to be. So we should get back to that stage, but not with the speed of light, as I said. They are just backtracking too fast.
Okay. Mr. Ita, thank you so much for joining us this morning. But we have to find a way around it, don't you?
Oh yes, we should find a way around it.
So let's see how best we can adjust, because it's here, and whether we like it or not, we might have to. Yes, so let's see how best.
Let's all face the consequences.
Mr. Ita says, if they fail to Georgia, they'll face the consequences. And of course, they'll meet them boot for boot. Let's see what the future holds. But then for now, the new academic calendar seems to be the one that is holding. Mr. Ita did show us another calendar. We don't know if that's what GES is coming out with later, but let's see what the future holds. Hopefully we'll get GES to speak with them to know if the new one that Mr. Ita showed to us is a real new academic calendar, or what came out a month ago is a new academic calendar. But some way, somehow, they'll definitely meet halfway, and the future is definitely bright. You've been watching Prime Inside. Now, before we go, Mr. Ita, do you sing?
Pardon?
Do you sing?
Do I?
Do you sing?
Sing?
Yes.
I enjoy music, but I don't sing.
You don't have the voice?
But if you sing for me, I may exhibit my skills now.